Hello everybody and welcome to the Battle of the Week. Today we're going to be taking a look at a battle that shows how a good teamwork can turn the tide of battle, a good scouting and progress in every step of the way can shape the fate of the battle. Before we begin, I'd like to apologize for that background humming in the back. I'm still trying to figure out why it is happening. But let us proceed. So in the beginning, also I should mention this is a team battle with my teammates Tiberius the Fidget Spinner. You'll find out why I say that in the future. And Pellasgos, they are headed for the tower in the in the south, which we are going to be using to scout the enemy. Let's speed things up. So currently this is the advance period of the game where the troops are advancing and positioning to capture the strategic points. Here I'm making a possibly dangerous move to stay close to my allies, which is going through the forest. As you know, going through the forest with heavy infantry slows you down considerably and makes you considerably weaker. So with the tower capture, we can confidently proceed. We can confidently proceed forward, because now we know what's ahead of us, and it looks like more heavy infantry is ahead. Because my tier is higher, I'm able to attack them more easily. But even then, the strategy would still be the same. So here, because I was anticipating the enemy, I charge in first. Charge successfully connects, activating Vengeance and combat stance, formed combat. With my support from the Wild Wolves player, my allies are coming down the hills to force the enemy back into their base. Enemy is sending in their artillery support, but this also causes their units to fail and rout. Now we are passing the middle point. Middle is defended by these architecti, which are preventing the enemy from advancing. So now there comes an interesting maneuver over here where Pellasgos splits his light infantry. This is probably not a deliberate move, because under most circumstances this is a very bad idea to split your units like this. But because the light infantry are powered by the Vercingetorix, you will see that there is a, how should I say, method to this madness, so to speak. So he's running away, successfully separating the enemy. On the other hand, the northern flank, which completely collapses right here, putting us at a very close position. So in this case, southern flank has been won, northern flank has collapsed, and the middle is holding. So now with our units divided, one of our allies is trying to send reinforcements to Pellasgos, but Pellasgos activates Defiance. And with his back to the wall, is able to do considerable amount of damage. He's receiving damage from these mounted warbands, but our reinforcements has arrived. Now this is important, because now there are two players who are holding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 players, which is a very good exchange, leaving us plenty of time for us to push the enemy from the left. So here Tiberius overextends and engages these Rorarii, these javelins. In the meanwhile, my heavy infantry are still on their way. There's a battle still going on there. It looks like they have routed one of the enemy units. Although they themselves are surrounded, they're not receiving any flanked penalties. Let's take a look at why. Yeah, all of these units are commanded by Vercingetorix, which, as you remember from the Vercingetorix video, have Iron Discipline, which prevents them from routing, making them great defensive units, almost akin to the, what was his name, Scipio Africanus. except with the barbarians, which are very fast units, allowing you to use this very interesting strategy that I haven't seen before, I gotta admit. Dividing the enemy. I'm pretty sure this is just coincidence. That's what's happening here. So now with our push from the left, on the right we're holding the enemy. The enemy is waiting for their turn to attack, but they're not doing much damage thanks to Defiance. In meanwhile, we have an engagement on the left with the Vengeance active. Now, there's one important maneuver that's going on over here. So, by changing the formation of my heavy infantry, I'm able to sneak around. I'm able to flank my enemy and then hit my enemy's cavalry support in the side, in the back. Here I'm able to do about 4,000 damage while receiving none. And I keep doing damage because they have retreating units. So while our right flank has collapsed, they have more than enough bought us time to be able to collapse their left flank, putting us at an equal position. The enemy still has some numerical advantage. Here they have their velites, which are doing a lot of damage. But our archers have saw those velites and are now, I don't know, wiping them from the face of the earth using barrage. And so the enemy left flank has collapsed, our flanking was successful, and the remaining enemy units have been routed. Now we are able to pull our units and engage them in the middle side in front of their base. Now the important thing that is going on here is that I have managed to chain my Vengeance. And with this unit, both units were attacking as a blob so that I could refresh that 10-second duration. So now I'm trying to split my units to be able to hit multiple units at the same time. This, my second unit is holding the line, but at the same time we had some barbarian cavalry hitting our archers from the back. However, the Wild Wolves have intercepted them, so I can see some great teamwork going on the left. And now the cavalry routes the left side cavalry, but they are getting reinforced. Oh, and not just a simple reinforcement, that's Alexander. Their charge has been intercepted, archers are firing, and the heavy infantry are holding, pushing back the enemy. So enemy's right flank has shifted into the middle, but because my Vengeance is at its full force and I'm still receiving my range support, all they have to fight me head on gives me a considerable advantage that allows me to kill hundreds of their men. But I definitely would not be able to do this without my allies being able to distract the enemy, split them into groups, and that way I would not have to fight multiple units at once. Like this, I'm only fighting 2 players at once instead of having to fight 5, and they would be able to rout my units. So with the Pellasgos' plan to walk around, it has allowed us to divide and conquer the enemy. But that's not all, because we have only shifted the numerical advantage by 100. So anything can still happen. Tiberius is trying to capture the base, but the enemy archers are still on the prowl, waiting to get those sweet capture points. Now we have an interesting maneuver over here. These armored legionnaires were trying to bait themselves into being able to open to flank. But this player is not allowing himself to be charged so easily, so he turns his right flank. He's playing a Sula. Turns his right flank and engages the enemy. But the enemy outsmarts him and hits him in the back. It's not a very strong charge, but it's still enough to do damage. However, in return, the heavy infantry are able to engage the cavalry and manage to rout all 3 of them. Well, that's why you keep those wounded cavalry against the archers and not heavy infantry. But now he is indeed surrounded by 2 other units. We will see if this will be enough to rout him and send him back crying. Come on, let's see if the morale stabilizes. And no, he routs. The points go to the red team. Oh, what is this? He came back in the last second. So let's analyze the battlefield. The enemy left flank has collapsed. Enemy middle has collapsed, and the right hand side, they still have got plenty of archers. So this could drag on, and anything could happen. These equites are able to sneak past their guard and charging into these archers. This is gonna be a massacre, ladies and gentlemen. Boom! A unit almost completely wiped out. They all have been routed. Let's speed this up a bit. So it looks like the blue team captures the victory, but is it? So we have these legionaries coming in and decapping the base. So this can be very interesting because there's still some archers left. Oh, but with the cavalry over here, this does not leave them much of a possibility, and with the numerical advantage reaching 60 or 70%, this is very unlikely that they will be able to win. Oh, very nice maneuver we saw here. At the last second, this legionaries have changed their direction so they would not get hit by these spikes. We have archers firing and decapping. These legionaries were running around trying to capture and decap, just letting us capture and then for us to decap. Very interesting maneuver. Here what happened was I managed to finish my vengeance cooldown, but he slipped away. So your medium infantry can definitely do that. But can they do it consistently? That I cannot say. Here he managed to bait me, but we managed to hit him in the back. Let's do the up. Well, that seems like a bug, but we do end up winning this battle. I am happy that you could join me. I hope this was an interesting battle for you, as it was for me. And we'll see you next time.